Have you ever noticed how certain habits sneak into your life as you age, without you even realizing their impact? Some of these habits may seem small, but over time, they can create an invisible barrier between you and the people around you. The worst part? No one tells you about them. Friends and family may notice, but instead of bringing it up, they silently adjust, distancing themselves little by little. The good news? A little self-awareness can go a long way in preventing this from happening. Stick with us as we explore 6 surprising things that happen as you grow older, and more importantly, how to make small but meaningful changes that strengthen your relationships and improve your daily life. One of the most common but unnoticed habits that develop with age is being overly critical of younger generations. Maybe you caught yourself saying things like, "Back in my day, we never did things like this," or "Kids today just don't understand how the world really works." It's natural to compare the present to the past. After all, the world looks completely different now than it did decades ago. But have you ever considered how these statements sound to younger people? What may seem like harmless observations to you could actually be perceived as dismissive or even condescending. Imagine this scenario. You're at a family gathering and your grandchild is scrolling through their phone. You shake your head and say, "In my time, we actually talked to each other instead of staring at screens all day." It feels like a simple statement of fact, but to them, it sounds like criticism. Instead of engaging in conversation, they may withdraw, feeling misunderstood or judged. But what if, instead, you approach the situation with curiosity? Instead of criticizing, you'd ask, "What's so interesting on your phone? Show me what you're looking at." This small shift in approach changes the dynamic. Instead of creating distance, it opens a door for connection. It's easy to fall into the habit of romanticizing the past, but every generation faces unique challenges. Younger people today are navigating things we never had to deal with. Constant exposure to social media, increasing academic pressure, and a rapidly changing job market. What may look like laziness or lack of discipline could actually be their way of coping with an overwhelming world. So how can we bridge this gap? The answer lies in curiosity and understanding. Instead of making comments that highlight generational differences, try asking open-ended questions. Instead of saying, "You're always on your phone," try, "What's the most interesting thing you've seen online recently?" This simple rewording shifts the conversation from criticism to interest. It shows that you care about their experiences and value their perspective. Another way to foster connection is through shared learning. While older generations bring wisdom and life experience, younger generations have fresh ideas and technological know-how. Imagine teaching your grandchild how to cook a traditional family recipe while they show you how to use a new app or gadget. These shared experiences not only build stronger bonds, but also remind both of you that learning never stops, no matter your age. Above all, approach these interactions with empathy and humility. It's okay to admit when you don't understand something. In fact, they'll likely appreciate your honesty more than if you pretend to have all the answers. At the same time, try to see the world through their eyes, even if you don't always agree with their choices or priorities. By shifting from criticism to curiosity, you'll find that conversations become more meaningful and relationships grow stronger. And as that bond strengthens, you'll likely discover that younger generations are eager to hear your stories, learn from your experiences, and share their own lives with you. Now that we've talked about building stronger connections through understanding, let's address another habit that can unintentionally create distance: neglecting personal hygiene. As we age, some things that once felt effortless start to require more attention, and personal hygiene is one of them. It's not something people like to talk about, but the truth is, small lapses in hygiene can send unintended messages to those around us. Whether it's skipping a shower, wearing the same clothes for a few days, or not paying as much attention to grooming, these small habits can slowly create distance between us and others. Sometimes, personal hygiene becomes harder due to physical limitations. Aching joints, reduced mobility, or fatigue can make it more difficult to maintain the same routines we had in our younger years. Other times, it simply stops feeling like a priority. After all, when we're not heading to work or social events as often, who's really noticing? But here's the thing. People do notice, even if they don't say anything. Friends and family may not mention out of politeness, but over time, they may start feeling uncomfortable, even if they don't consciously realize why. Imagine being invited to a community gathering. You show up in a slightly wrinkled shirt, your hair a bit messy, and while no one outright comments on it, they might notice. It's not about vanity. It's about how we present ourselves to the world. Cleanliness and grooming signal that we care not just about ourselves, but also about the people around us. Studies have even shown that people who maintain good hygiene are perceived as more confident and approachable, while neglecting hygiene can unintentionally push others away. The good news is that addressing this doesn't have to be overwhelming. Small, manageable steps can make a big difference. Start by keeping a simple daily routine, brushing your teeth, washing your face, combing your hair, and wearing fresh clothes. If physical challenges make certain tasks difficult, adaptive tools can help. Long-handled brushes, no-rinse cleansing wipes, or even a shower stool can make self-care easier. For those who struggle with tasks like haircuts or nail trimming, seeking help doesn't have to feel like a loss of independence. A professional caregiver, a mobile hairdresser, or even a trusted family member can assist while maintaining dignity and comfort. Keeping grooming supplies within easy reach can also help. Sometimes, just making things more accessible is enough to encourage regular self-care. Another simple trick is setting reminders, whether it's an alarm on your phone or a sticky note on the bathroom mirror. Small prompts can keep you on track. More importantly, shifting your mindset about hygiene can make a huge difference. Instead of seeing it as just another chore, think of it as an act of self-respect. Every time you take care of yourself, you're sending a message. I matter, and that confidence will naturally attract others to you. Caring for yourself isn't just about appearances. It's about how you feel. A fresh outfit, a clean shave, or well-groomed hair can boost your mood and self-esteem. It's a way of saying, I'm still here, I still care, and I still want to be part of the world. But while hygiene helps us feel our best, there's another habit that can have the opposite effect: oversharing. Sometimes, as we get older, we don't realize how much we repeat certain stories or personal details. We all love sharing our life experiences. After all, our stories are a reflection of the journey we've taken. But as we get older, we may not realize just how often we repeat the same stories or share too many personal details. It's not done intentionally, but over time, this habit can make conversations feel one-sided and repetitive, pushing people away without us even noticing. Memory changes with age, and certain vivid moments, especially ones tied to strong emotions, tend to resurface again and again. It's natural to recall and share these moments, but when we retell the same stories too frequently, younger listeners may start to lose interest. Imagine you're at a family gathering, talking about a big promotion you got years ago. As you start the story, you notice your grandchild giving a small smile, nodding along before you've even finished the sentence. They've heard it before, maybe many times. It's not that they don't care, but when a story becomes predictable, the emotional impact fades. This doesn't mean you should stop sharing stories entirely. Your experiences are valuable and deserve to be heard. The key is to strike a balance, making sure conversations feel fresh and engaging rather than repetitive. One simple trick is to ask yourself, have I told this person this story before? If the answer is yes, consider adding a new detail or shifting the focus to make it feel different. Instead of saying, back in the day, I worked harder than kids do now, try saying, I once had a tough job that taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Have you ever had a moment like that? This approach keeps the conversation open-ended and encourages the other person to share their own experiences, making it a two-way interaction rather than just a retelling of the past. Another way to keep conversations engaging is to ask others about their lives before jumping into your own stories. Instead of starting with, I remember when I bought my first car, try asking, what's the most exciting purchase you've ever made? By framing your stories around shared experiences, you invite others into the conversation rather than just reliving past moments alone. Bringing variety into conversations is also important. If you notice yourself telling the same handful of stories often, try recalling different events from your life, ones you may not have shared before. Reflecting on untold moments can not only make conversations more interesting, but also help you relive those memories in a new light. Finally, one of the best ways to keep interactions engaging is to be an active listener. When someone shares an update about their life, instead of responding with your own similar experience, try asking follow-up questions. If someone mentions a new job, ask, "What's been the best part of it so far?" If they tell you about a trip, ask, "What was the most memorable moment?" When you genuinely listen, people feel valued and heard, and they'll naturally want to spend more time with you. Your stories are treasures, but so are the experiences of the people around you. By balancing storytelling with curiosity, you create conversations that feel fresh, dynamic, and enjoyable for everyone involved. But while repeated stories can sometimes make conversations stale, there's another habit that can have an even bigger impact on relationships: holding on to too much clutter. Over the years, we accumulate things, items that hold memories, sentimental value, or a sense of comfort. But as time goes on, these belongings can start piling up, turning from cherished keepsakes into overwhelming clutter. While it might not seem like a big deal at first, clutter can slowly impact not only your living space, but also your relationships with others. It's natural to attach emotions to objects. Maybe your box is filled with old birthday cards, furniture that hasn't been used in years, or clothes you haven't worn in decades, but can't bring yourself to part with. These items may represent important moments, loved ones, or a time when life felt simpler. However, for those around us, especially family members or visitors, too much clutter can feel overwhelming. Imagine your grandchild visiting and wanting to sit on the couch, but there are stacks of books and papers covering the cushions. Or your child offering to help clean up, only to be met with hesitation because everything feels too important to throw away. Over time, these small moments can create tension. Loved ones might worry about safety risks, tripping hazards, dust buildup, or difficulty navigating the home, but they may hesitate to bring it up for fear of hurting your feelings. Letting go of clutter doesn't mean throwing away everything you love. Instead, it's about prioritizing what truly matters. A good way to start is by choosing one small area, a single drawer, a closet, or a corner of a room, and asking yourself, does this item bring me joy or serve a purpose right now? If the answer is no, consider donating it to someone who can use it. For sentimental items, you don't have to part with everything. Instead, keep a few meaningful pieces and take photos of the rest. A digital photo album can preserve memories without taking up physical space. Letting go can actually be an act of love. By organizing your space, you make it easier for family members who may need help you in the future. Imagine how much they'll appreciate walking into a home that feels light, open, and welcoming, rather than cluttered and difficult to manage. If the idea of decluttering feels overwhelming, involve a loved one. Going through old belongings together can create beautiful moments of connection. Instead of soaring through items alone, invite a family member over and share the stories behind your most treasured possessions. Let them ask questions, reminisce with you, and even choose an item or two to keep for themselves as a way to carry on the memory. Small, consistent steps make a difference. Even spending just 15 minutes a day decluttering one area can have a big impact over time. And if you feel like you need extra support, consider hiring a professional organizer who specializes in working with older adults. Their guidance can help you make decisions while respecting the sentimental value of your belongings. A tidy, organized space doesn't just reduce stress. It makes daily life easier and more enjoyable. When your home feels open and accessible, it becomes a place where family and friends feel comfortable spending time with you. And once the physical space feels lighter, you may even notice a mental shift, a sense of clarity, peace, and room for new memories. But while clutter can weigh us down physically, there's another habit that can unintentionally create emotional distance: oversharing medical or personal details. As we age, health naturally becomes a bigger part of daily life. Doctor visits, medications, aches, and treatments become frequent topics of conversation. But if every discussion revolves around health concerns, it can sometimes make interactions feel heavy or one-sided, leaving others unsure of how to respond. Picture this. You meet an old friend for coffee, and within minutes, the conversation turns into a detailed account of your latest test results, prescriptions, and doctor visits. While your friend may listen politely, they may also feel overwhelmed, unsure what to say. Over time, these conversations can create emotional distance, making interactions feel more like medical updates than meaningful connections. This doesn't mean you should avoid talking about health entirely. It's important to share personal updates and seek support when needed. The key is balance, keeping health discussions brief and allowing space for other topics. Instead of listing every medical detail, you might say, "I've been focusing on my health lately, but enough about me. What's been going on with you?" This shift invites a lighter, more mutual exchange. Mixing in positive or engaging topics can also improve conversations. Share a funny story from your week, ask about the other person's hobbies, or discuss a book, TV show, or new interest. These topics bring variety, making conversations feel more enjoyable and well-rounded. Practicing active listening is another powerful way to strengthen relationships. When someone shares an update, instead of responding with a similar experience of your own, try asking follow-up questions. If they mention a vacation, ask, "What was a highlight of the trip?" If they share a work update, ask, "What are you most excited about in this new role?" This keeps interactions engaging and shows genuine interest in the other person's life. But while oversharing can sometimes make conversations feel heavy, there's one more habit that can create an even bigger gap between generations: being dismissive of new technology. Technology evolves quickly, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed or uninterested in keeping up with the latest gadgets, apps, and social media trends. But outright dismissing technology with comments like, "I don't need all that stuff," or "Back in my day, we didn't rely on screens," can unintentionally widen the gap between you and younger generations. Imagine your grandchild excitedly showing you a new app they've been using, and you respond with, "I'll never understand any of that." It may seem like a harmless statement, but it can make them feel like their interests aren't valued. Over time, this can make conversations more difficult, creating a disconnect that's hard to bridge. The good news? Embracing small aspects of technology can foster deeper connections. You don't have to become a tech expert overnight. Just being open to learning makes a difference. Asking a grandchild to show you how a particular app works or learning how to video call family members can make interactions more meaningful. It's not just about staying updated. It's about showing interest in the world younger generations live in. Small steps can lead to big connections. Whether it's using a simple app to keep in touch, learning to browse photos online, or watching videos that align with your interests, engaging with technology sends a powerful message. You're open to learning and growing, no matter your age. Aging isn't just about getting older. It's about continuing to grow, nurture relationships, and embrace the world around us. By becoming more aware of these habits and making small changes, you can strengthen your connections and create a more fulfilling, engaging life. Which of these points resonated with you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on navigating life's golden years.